Yeah. I'll deliver my presentation in English. This is kind of a continuation of the introduction given by Arsena Rakelian on the necessity of genomics in Armenia. And I will stress on one necessary part of the genomics, which is bioinformatics. That's the part where you get to analyze the actual data and try to infer some knowledge from it. So in the recent years, data has been the cornerstone of development, and various spheres are competing with each other in the amount of data generated. And what you can see here is in 2025, the amount of data generated from the field of genomics will surpass that of astronomy. So instead of telling astronomical data growth, we can as well tell genomic data growth. So it's exponential and the data is eating the world. And the amount of data is not the only problem. What you see here is that you can get data not only from DNA, but you can get data from any other level of organization in our cells, from the transcriptome, epigenome, etc. And you can integrate the data. So what you see here is the amount of papers published each year. And in the color code, you see the different technologies that produce various types of data. So bioinformatics deals with a creative solution, a software solution to integrate all these different types of data and to try to infer knowledge from this. So there's a very huge field of creativity. And given that the technologies that revolutionize the way we do biology, the way we do life science, are developing every year. And every year, a new type of data set comes in and a new way of analysis is required. So basically, bioinformaticians and bioinformatics deals with this type of data, trying to get knowledge out of it. And the applications of bioinformatics are including many spheres and becoming more and more diverse. And it's important to tell that bioinformatics is not a separate direction in science, in biology. It is a skill set that is becoming the required skill set of almost virtually every life scientist. So a lot of universities now around the world are changing their curricula to also include the bioinformatics course, at least just to give people the necessary skill set to do their research. And recent studies have shown that in academia, as well as in industry, the open positions in bioinformatics have only been fulfilled by 50%. So basically, there is a huge lack of bioinformaticians in industry and in academia, and this is a huge challenge around the world. And of course, whenever there is a challenge, you can turn that challenge into an opportunity, and that is something that we would also like to do in Armenia. And the problem here is the following. Considering that bioinformatics is a necessary skill set in academic and biotech and medical entities, we think that in 2025, considering all the scientific and educational and medical centers in Armenia, we will need at least 30 specialists in bioinformatics. And also considering the fact that people that are trained in Armenia in science, usually only 1/3 of them remains in Armenia. We need to start training 90 scientists, 90 bioinformaticians today, so that in 5-year time, we will have 30 that will at least fulfill the need that we have. And of course, in order to train 90 specialists in bioinformatics, you need at least 20 bioinformatics principal investigators who can coordinate, who can mentor 5 to 10 people in their lab. And what do we have right now? So these are the numbers that we have. There are only 2 people that have a PhD in genomics bioinformatics in Armenia, and they have trained 2 specialists who are doing their PhDs right now. So this is the problem, how to reach from here to here, and seems kind of unsolvable, right? So we claim that we kind of have the recipe, but it's going to be very hard. It will require creativity and patience. And what you see here is a broken bridge, and this is the situation that we have right now. There is a big chasm, and this chasm is the following. we have a great deal of motivated, talented students interested. Surprisingly, we discovered this year interested in bioinformatics at the level of bachelors. And we have a great deal of scientists in diaspora and around the world who are dealing with the field abroad. And the problem is that these people cannot interact with the bachelor level students. And a lot of grant programs in Armenia and around the world are actually designed for at least people at their master's and PhD level degrees. And the bachelor level students do not remain in Armenia. They do not cross this gap because they don't find good master's programs in the field, and they don't find good academic programs. Me personally, I wouldn't remain in the country in my master's if I wouldn't find the Institute of Molecular Biology, if I wouldn't find Arsena Rakelan, who supervised me. And yeah, I found it very motivating to do research in Armenia. So that was that single group that kept me in Armenia. And I would say the same thing about the two people who are doing PhD right now. And this is kind of one example that shows that if you at least have a good academic programs, good academic groups, that can at least keep some people here and will help us cross this chasm. So we, with this in mind, with this problem in mind, we established the Armenian Bioinformatics Institute as a non-governmental, non-profit organization, which will deal with research, education, and development in bioinformatics. So basically, we plan to have independent research labs that will do their independent research. We plan to have, and we already have, educational programs that recruit students and interest them in the field and assign them to these labs that are forming right now. Of course, we will deal with setting up the computing resources for bioinformatics, and we are also planning to have Armenian Life Bank, which is basically a database showcasing all the different types of data sets that are produced in Armenia that will help people from around the world to understand what type of data is produced in Armenia, who is working on what, and to understand how to find ways of collaboration. And the Institute will have a bioinformatics core, which will deal with outsourcing bioinformatics data analysis services to academic and industrial entities abroad. And of course, dealing, like interacting with industry is not only in being a CRO basically for all these entities, but of course we will boost innovation, and in the long term, spin-offs can arise, and this can further boost biotech development of biotech. So I'm just going to bring you 4 examples of what we're doing right now in order to bridge this gap. And in all of these examples, you will see that ABI is kind of in the middle, so acts as a liaison to bridge the 2 worlds. The first one, and I think this is the most, the riskiest so far activity from ABI, and I would tell the most successful so far. This is the organization of a summer school in genome bioinformatics. So this was a school with a crazy workload. It was 11 weeks, every day for 7 hours per day. Students from June until now are in the, like physically located in the Institute of Molecular Biology, are learning bioinformatics. So surprisingly, we got 50 applications, 50 applications of which 19 students were selected, and 16 of them are still alive to this point. I'm surprised. I mean, I wouldn't choose to spend my whole summer doing nothing else but learning bioinformatics, and the program was great. And 2 mentors, so 2 PhD students from Arsen's group had performed enormous amount of work trying to gather all the online resources so that students engage in self-learning, mentoring them during their self-learning activities. And importantly, a great deal of the course content was provided by 38 guest speakers from 11 countries abroad, most of them diasporans, some of them not. And it was surprising how easy it was to gather this amount of experts and how willing they were to provide a seminar, and these seminars were kind of organized in a sequential manner so that the topics are gradually also following the students' background. And importantly, yeah, these 19 students, some of them didn't know anything about biology when they came to the summer school, and some of them didn't know anything about programming. And right now they are programming and dealing with the coronavirus data samples that are produced in Armenia. And they are trying to discover which variants they have. So they gained all these skills during this project. Another activity that we are doing is we are trying to assign supervisors to students. Supervisors can be both from ABI and can be from abroad. And one example is Narek, who is a computer science. He graduated last year from the computer science department at AUA, interested in bioinformatics. So me and a guy from the US were supervising him with a very nice topic in liquid biopsies. And he actually got a scholarship from ARPA after he did his capstone to continue his research for 6 more months. So this is one type of thing that we're doing, and I will show you that this is not a single example. We have several such examples already. And then the other format is a very recently launched format, and I like this idea very much. So this is the following. So there are life scientists abroad who are doing their postdoctoral studies, and they are not bioinformaticians, but they really, really need to learn bioinformatics. And one of such people is Erik Aznauran, who has just started his postdoctoral research at the world-renowned Church Lab in Harvard University, and doing some trendy analysis in genetic editing and tissue engineering. So he approached us asking if bioinformatics is something that we can teach him as the Institute for Informatics, for Bioinformatics. And what we did is we also recruited another student, a data scientist from American University of Armenia, Tatevik. And we basically assigned this student to the research topics that Erik is doing. And we are basically training, like giving them training in bioinformatics to both of them. As a result, Tatevik learns genetic engineering, Erik learns bioinformatics, everybody is happy. And of course, we are also looking for donors to support this type of initiatives and give scholarship to Tatevik so that she can commit some time to this project. And as I told you, currently there are already 6 projects, 6 students are supervised from local and global mentors abroad. And as a result of our summer school, there are 10 people who want to continue after the summer school to do research projects. And there are actually 8 supervisors who are willing to take on and continue with this. So I think personally that these numbers are quite happy numbers. And finally, we are now in discussions with with a couple of companies in the industry who would like to use, who would like to collaborate with the Armenian Bioinformatics Institute to get the expertise in bioinformatics. But of course, they know that we are in our initial stages, so we don't have enough resources to like jump to the heavy workload from the beginning. So we are discussing strategic partnership with these companies that they support us to grow the students to a certain point where they have the skills in order to also be involved in the projects provided by the industry. And again, ABI is a liaison. So ABI is supporting these type of connections. So in short, our short and long-term goals. So soon we are going to launch 2 to 4 research labs, at least 2, and we are also discussing with 2 more people to have a remote lab in ABI. We will continue our educational activities, and we will set up the computing resources and all the things necessary to form a bioinformatics core team and the Armenian Life Bank. And of course, we will start fundraising activities to have a physical space so that we can expand easily. The initial phase of uniting talents around the idea is halfway through. So a lot of people have already joined the initiative. And in 3 years' time, we think that if we continue in this steps, then we will have the critical mass of people that will ensure that this is sustainable. And of course, until 5 years time, we perhaps will not have international visibility, but hopefully it will come afterwards. And of course, our long-term goal is to create the human capital and the expertise that will eventually recruit biotech industry to Armenia. There was a interesting army of people that joined the initiative from the very beginning, and I would like to tell that a lot of people that have joined afterwards have not found their faces on this slide, and I think this is not the best format to represent this. But basically, there was no need to convince the experts community. They were all very easily convinced and have joined this initiative. Right now, there are some full-timers. So we have people from the research side, people from the operational side, and we are currently fundraising to have 2 to 4 masters and PhD students, and also to hire IT and a person who knows how to set up a server infrastructure for bioinformatics research. We're fundraising for this, and of course, looking for people to fill these positions. So these are our partnership, both with academic and industrial entities, and also with private and public donors. We are looking for experts, so the community of experts needs to grow. And of course, we have a huge need of setting up the computing infrastructure so that it's scalable. So we need experts in these realms. And of course, we need people who can advise us in our strategy and funding. And this is the funding vision. So far we have acquired $17,000, and we think that by in the initial stages, we will depend heavily on donations, but afterwards, research grants and industrial sources will replace this and make us financially more stable. But of course, if you would like to donate, we are very happy for this. So far we are in the process of implementing a card transaction system on the website, but you can subscribe, and once we implement that, we can, of course, give you a notice. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation, or for great job that you are doing. I have many questions, of course. We can discuss them later. But one question is that you were talking about summer course. Did you consider making a regular 1 or 2 year master's course somehow? Did you negotiate with universities for doing that?
Yeah. The idea is that, of course, we cannot right now create a master's program, but we can at least provide specialized courses. And we have talked with Russian Armenian University, with American University, and hopefully with the new law also it will be possible with the Yerevan state, so that students from different universities take the course and then take the credits back to their home universities. So that's the
my question actually was, so you are thinking about students coming to you and taking the courses and going back. I was talking about the reverse process. You make the curriculum for 2 years, give it to the universities. University prepare the students for you to work in the bioinformatics
that's also
field.
great.
And you provide consultancy, I don't know, specialists, etc., etc.
Yeah. So we have done that already with a couple of universities. So we have developed both master's and bachelor's curricula like a few years ago. The problem is the following. Until you have a biotech industry in Armenia, until you have a scientific infrastructure that will be able to digest students that graduate from these programs, you will not convince universities to have a separate program in bioinformatics. So this is a process that should happen gradually. So right now, the Institute of Molecular Biology has Cafedra has a
Chair.
department, yeah, in Russian Armenian University where they teach. There's the data science program in American University that has recently launched with a bioinformatics track, where both me and Arsen will teach bioinformatics in the coming semester, and they also attract people from abroad to do that. So this is a gradual step. So we will start with courses, and once we have the positions that we'll be able to digest all these people later on. And once we have the expertise to also teach, then this all hopefully will come together and the master's programs will form.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just curious, why didn't you collaborate with the Department of Bioinformatics at the Yerevan State University Department of Biology, and why they are not involved into your work? I mean, they, as much as I know, they have even the office for the for the students who are graduating and can't find any work, so they can apply, go to that office and to find some job. I mean, if you can have any contacts with the main that office, honestly, I don't remember the name of the office, but the main job, of course, to build the bridges between the employers and employees. So why don't you contact them, and why don't you collaborate with the Department of Biology? I know you all together, you are friends, and that's some kind of unexplained question for me.
Thanks a lot for the question, and I think I didn't. Yeah, thanks for giving the opportunity to highlight this part as well. So we do collaborate, but I will first explain something. So bioinformatics can be divided into two branches, right? So structural bioinformatics that deals with 3D structures of proteins and drug design, etc., is relatively well developed in Armenia. And in Yerevan State as well, there is the basically the bioinformatics educational program, and the bioinformaticians there are dealing with this part of bioinformatics. It's still open. So, okay, it's opening and closing, and I have lost track actually of this. But we are dealing with genome bioinformatics, but there are, of course, people who need bioinformatics support in Yerevan State University and in different institutions in Armenia. In the before the summer school, we have talked to biologists, both from Yerevan State, from the Institute of Botany, of Zoology, etc. And this is in the lines of Armenia being the sample provider. So all of like there are a lot of research groups that are participating in international consortia to provide this European reference genome, etc., to provide samples from different organisms that are special to Armenia, and all of them need bioinformatics support. And it is quite nice that we had 2 applicants from the Institute of Botany in the summer school, and now they're getting the skills to bring back to their research groups there. We had 2 people from Yerevan State. So in this regard, we are really interacting not only with the students, but also we know the problems of certain research groups there that need bioinformatics support. And we are talking with the like a microbiology department to do a couple of programs together, but I didn't know about the office that you were mentioning. So if you can later explain the details, then